This is 7.1, inverse variation. The essential question is, how do you recognize when two quantities vary directly or inversely? So this is the first video, and we're just going to work on classifying these equations in this video. So let's go over some vocabulary so you understand how the variations work. We have inverse variation. This is when two variables, and those are x and y, are related, and the equation would be y equals a over x, where a is not 0. Okay? While direct variation, same two variables, they're related in the equation y equals a times x. Again, a is not 0. So a is just a number in both of these. Okay? So you have the variables y and x and y and x. In inverse variation, it's the constant divided by x. In the direct variation, it's the constant multiplying x. And then that constant of variation is that a. Okay? So the core concepts we have to go with that are inverse variation. But I also want to show you that yes, it's a over y equals a over x. But sometimes you'll have a constant, and to solve for that constant, which is our a, I have to multiply by the x, so we get xy. If the equation looks in either of these formats, it is inverse variation. Okay? And this means a constant a is a constant of variation, and y is said to vary inversely, why it's called inverse variation, with x. So then we have direct variation. Okay? And again, it said y equals a times x, or if sometimes it's solved for a, it equals y divided by x. Alright, so that constant would equal y divided by x. Y is said to vary directly with x. Okay, so let's give this a try by classifying some equations. Okay, so we want to tell whether x and y show direct variation, inverse variation, or neither. Okay, so in the first one, I have x and y right here, and I have a 1 and a 3. Let's get all of the numbers so I get my constant on one side. Okay, so I'm going to divide by this 3, so that way the x and y can stay put, but that way I get this number over here. So I get xy equals 1/3. Okay, well, let's see if it looks like any of our rules here. Well, it has x and y together equaling a number. That is inverse variation. Okay, so this is inverse. Now, we could have, without dividing by that 3, we could have gone ahead and saw that just because of this x and y right there. X and y being together, or multiplying each other, okay, is going to be inverse. Okay, this is inverse variation. All right. Now in number 2, I have y equals a constant over x. So here I have y equals a constant over x. And again, that's inverse variation. So these vary inversely. And this is inverse variation. And I'm just not writing the word variation out. Okay? Now, number 3, the key here. So, inverse. So for number 2, that's the key. A constant over x. Okay, now in number 3, it has a plus sign. None of our rules have any addition or subtraction. Okay, so this plus sign tells us that this is not going to be either direct or inverse, so this will be neither. Okay, and again, if we look at number 4, it has a plus sign. You can actually even continue on any of them that has addition or subtraction. So number 6 also has subtraction. Those ones are all neither. They are not inversely, they're not inversely related or directly related. Okay, so I can go ahead and just answer all of the ones that have a plus or a minus. Okay? Now, in number 5, we have our constant multiplying x. So let's go to our rules here. This one is direct variation, and it has a constant multiplying x. So I know that that is direct variation. Okay? Now this one is, number 7 is y equals an x over 7. Well, we can rewrite this and think of that over 7 being, let me get a different color here, being the same thing as saying 1/7 times x equals y. So it is a constant times x, and again, our direct variation says y equals a constant times x, so I know this one is direct. Okay? Now, number 8, again, you can divide by the 6, you get 0 on one side, but this xy right there kind of gives it away. It doesn't kind of give away, it gives it away. So which one of these has an x and a y next to each other? It's not that, not this, not that, right here. So the constant equals an xy, which is inverse variation. Now, you might say, well, there's that 6 there, but remember, we can just divide by the 6, and then the constant is all on one side. So this would be inverse variation. Okay, and then number 9. Again, there's that 9 here with the x, but we can multiply both sides by 9. So it's the y over the x that is our key here. Okay, so I need to find in my variations y over x, and that shows right here under direct variation, a constant equals y over x. So I know this is direct variation. Okay, because our constant here would be 9. We'd multiply both sides by 9. All right, so I want you to go to your practice and do problems 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 10. And then move on to the second video.